Hi there, and thanks for clicking on this video. My name is Sham, and I hope you had seen my previous video about the quality management system. Today, we are going to discuss about the topic that is what is a root cause analysis and corrective action and preventive action. So whenever we are talking about RCA and CAPA, I believe that there are six important stages. Those are problem identification, root cause analysis, correction of the problem, reoccurrence control, verification of the effectiveness, and preventive action. So when we talk about the problem, we must understand that if a problem actually exists. So here in the graph you can see a horizontal line denotes standard. Anything that falls from the standard is your problem, and anything above this horizontal line is improvement. So here I would say a problem is exist when there is a perceived gap between existing state and desired state. So I believe there are three really important stages or elements we should consider whenever identifying a new problem. The first, and it's incredibly important, is to quarantine all potentially affected material. I say potentially because at this point, without understanding a root cause, you may not know or may not understand the scope of problem. So it is good to identify and quarantine the potentially affected material to avoid the mix-ups. Now we want to continue the flow of operation, the flow of value or material, right? But we also need to mitigate some risk by implementing some interim actions. So whenever we are talking about the process controls and quarantine material, we see this control plan that we use, and very last step of this control plan is that what we call as a reaction plan. This will guide us when we face a problem. What are we going to do when a problem occurs? So this reaction plan may include segregation, double the inspection frequency, or maybe rework. Now whenever we are considering quarantine, we must ensure about affected material that may be in your raw material, work in process material, or finished good, or even in transit or at the customer end. Right? Now step 2 is all about formation of the team. Complex problem always require a team of experts who have experience or perspectives or expertise that truly helps to solve a big problem. So depending on the scope and the size of your problem, team could include a handful of people. Those can include a mentor or a champion, team leader to lead the entire team, participants and note taker, or you can say a note keeper to track the process and record all the elements of root cause analysis and kappa to comply with our QMS. And then speaking about the team, it's really important that member of the team that we are think about development of the team, are we forming, storming, norming or performing, and how does our behavior affect the team engagement or the performance. Because oftentimes during the root cause analysis things become difficult, they can be competitive. So it's really important that we communicate effectively and team is as high performing as possible. We must keep positive dynamics throughout the process. And then last phase of the problem identification is to generate a problem statement. So a good problem statement include all the appropriate details surrounding the problem which lead us to the root cause analysis process. So this is a great opportunity to sit and use the 5W2H tool. This 5W2H is what, when, who, where and why, and 2H are how and how many. So this means what exactly we are facing or we are talking about. When did it happen? Where did it occur? Maybe a location or a specific machine or a place, and like that you can generate a specific problem statement. So here we have completed our problem identification stage. Now we can move to the root cause analysis. So let's talk about the root cause and let's talk about some tools as well. First one is Genji Gumbutsu. This simply means go and see yourself. Most people make mistake of trying to solve the problem from a conference room or from their desk. There is always more value in going to the place where problem occurred. Whether it may be a production floor, your dock point, your finished good area, or maybe a raw material storage area. Go and see yourself, interview the employee, get visualization of the process and understand it better, right? Next one is to focus on the process. I think lots of bad RCS tends to blame the people, and as a quality person it's really important to focus on the process instead of the people. Third one is make sure use a proper tool to dig up your root cause. Here you can use one of the 7 QC tool. I think all of these tools are very important and have their own aspect of root cause analysis depending on the situation and type of data you are going to analyze. So first tool is the flow charts, right? Or also called as a stratification or run charts. These are refers to breaking down the data into categories to more easily make sense of them. Second one is check sheets. It's simple data recording tool. It includes list of problems and number of occurrences indicated by tally marks. Third one is the Pareto chart based on 80-20 principle, which state that 80% of problems are a result of 20% of causes. This chart graphically displays relative importance of differences among group of data within a set. Fourth is fishbone diagram, also known as cause and effect diagram or Ishikawa diagram, where we consider man, machine, method, measurement, material and environment factors. It simplifies the root cause. Fifth one is histogram, which is used to display the distribution of data graphically. It helps people to easily identify patterns that are difficult to detect in table and number format. Sixth is scatter plot. It is a simple visual form of graphical analysis. It's used to analyze potential relationship between two variables plotted along the x and y axis. And the last tool is control chart. This is a time sequence chart with upper and the lower control limits, where the value of some statistical are measured for a series of samples. Simply helps to detect a process behavior relevant to time and identifies if the process is in control or unpredictable or not in control. Now after using these tools or other tools like 5-why analysis, you came to a root cause or multiple root causes depending on the outcome of your study. We move to the problem correction. Now we have to do is brainstorm the corrective action. So at this point in this process we have to come up with potential ideas essentially addressing the root causes and its contributing factors. And I think this is nothing but a continuous improvement. This is where we get better. This is where we improve our processes to eliminate variations, eliminate defects and get better each day. Now this could be sort of different solutions. It may be some sort of mistake proofing or what we called it as a pokayoke. It could be a removal of source of variations, or it may be include your introduction of new inspection method or new control point. Likewise, you get list of potential corrective actions now. Here we must evaluate those list of potential corrective actions and test those potential solutions. So here you could use something like matrix diagram that essentially will list out your various options. And then other step here is that, and very important, is brainstorming unintended consequences that are associated with proposed changes. So whenever you are evaluating possible solutions, ask yourself about unintended consequences of this corrective action. And then next step is what we call as a reoccurrence control. So let's say you have evaluated potential solutions and you picked a handful of them that you truly believes in. Now it's time to make them a part of your documentation or part of your QMS, and this might include updating your control plans, FMES, etc. Right? This should be updated to reflect the new elements of our control that we have. The other important thing here is that often gets overlooked is training. So to implement some sort of new controls or new inspections or new step in our process, it's really important that we train all our affected stakeholders, employees, the people who are working on the process, right? And then it's time to verify the effectiveness of our corrective actions. And essentially what it means is to monitor your process and monitoring that changes to ensure that you effectively reduce or eliminate the root cause. Now in certain circumstances you are not going to fully eliminate the root cause or the defect, so it's really important here is to have a detailed verification plan. And what I mean here is that if you think that in 6 months you can reduce your customer complaint by say 30%, 40% or maybe 50%, you should be clear about that. When you are creating your verification plan, you must use SMART goals, right? The goal must be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. By the way, this verification can go one or two ways. The data indicates the corrective actions were effective, well, then celebrate, right? You did your job, you did a great job. But if data indicates that corrective actions were ineffective, it's time to bring that team together and go through this process once again. So, generally, one or two things can happen. Either you didn't identify the true root cause, or corrective action you picked were ineffective. Now we take a look at preventive action because it's a big part of CAPA. So this is really important part of our QMS. If you identify some effective corrective action in one element of your business or in one particular process, then it's really important to apply those same lessons learned to other similar processes, so that everyone benefits from the work that you did, and that you prevent a failure from ever occurring in first place on that similar process. Similarly, look up for updating the procedures, work instructions, SOPs, and distribute those updated documentation to respective people to follow. Also, some of preventive actions can include regular audits of the processes, periodic maintenance, and in particular cases, you may need to think of modification or redesigning of your components, right? So this is all about the root cause analysis and corrective action and preventive action. This can be applicable to variety of industries. It can be a food, it can be construction, it can be manufacturing, healthcare, automotive, and many more. Okay, so I hope you would find out this video helpful. Please subscribe my channel, like and share this video with your friends and colleagues. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye bye.